What's poppin', peeps? Happy Wednesday. T-Money here to bring you another collection overview video. Tonight I'm going to be discussing my Troma video, or my Troma movie collection, which is pretty small. I don't have a ton of Troma movies, but I've got enough between my DVDs and Blu-rays. Definitely have more DVDs than I have Blu-rays, just because I'm kind of picky and choosy about what I want to upgrade for Troma on Blu-ray. Just because they're independent, depending on how the films were shot and that sort of deal. But anyway, Troma is a company I feel like that's dismissed by a lot of people as being really shitty, low budget, amateur. And I feel like there are a lot of kind of hidden gems within the Troma catalog that you kind of have to look, below the surface to find because, and I have to actually thank Mood616 because before, I started watching his videos where he went over he has a massive Troma collection. And I kind of learned a lot going through his shelf-by-shelf Troma videos. And from there, I kind of made a lot of decisions, what to purchase based on things that he recommended and whatnot. Because I, too, like so many people, kind of was like, Troma, I'm not really into their shit. It's pretty trashy and garbage. But there are a lot of companies that films that Troma distributes that are actually really good, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, there are definitely some films that are shitty and live up to that, to that stereotype for sure. But then they have some good ones as well. I'm thinking now that I'm sitting down to do this, I have like one other box set, and I swear I have a few more Blu-rays too, and I just could not find them for the life of me because when I start to run out of room on the racks, I start to get kind of random in my placements of things. So my apologies in advance if I'm forgetting anything. I'll try and do a additional video when I'm done and include anything that I might have forgotten in the beginning. So without further ado, let's start with the DVDs and let's get into this Tromastic update. All right, so first up we have a movie that was actually just put on Blu-ray by Vinegar Syndrome like a week ago, Bloodhook, and I'm actually a big fan of this movie. I think it's really a lot of fun, slasher flick from 1987, I believe, 1986, and yeah, it's just basically about like a fishing tournament that's going on in this fishing town in Wisconsin. I fucked up before and said Missouri, and somebody got really pissed about that. So my B, Wisconsin, and that accent is just so hokey, and this movie's so hokey, but it's got this unique kind of like this charm to it, and I highly recommend it. Anyway, it's a slasher that takes place during a fishing tournament, basically, and the killer uses a badass fish hook to literally lure his victims to their death. Next up is another really fun one, Blades. I mean, fucking killer lawnmower, man. You can't go wrong with this. This one's from 1989. Yeah, I opted to grab these individually just because I like films. Blades and Bloodhook actually came in a 2-pack as well, but I just grabbed the individual releases. But yeah, this is a fun one as well. And as I go through here, I'll try and remember to tell you whether or not it was directed by Lloyd Kaufman and Michael Hertz, or if it was directed by like somebody else. So far we have Bloodhook, which is actually it was just distributed by Troma, not directed. Same with this film. And also, what's kind of when you can expect a boatload of extras on all of the Troma releases, and some of them are really stupid. It mostly just has to do with that super fat dude who has passed away, rest in peace, I forget your name, and Lloyd Kaufman just kind of doing like little quirky intros and stuff like that. But it's fun, You can tell there's definitely a love of independent cinema. Obviously, they're like the longest running. But yeah, there's a whole slew of extra features on all of the releases, which is awesome. Next up, we have the Killer Nerd and the Bride of Killer Nerd double feature. Now, these are really dusty because I haven't watched any of these in a while, but I really, really like Killer Nerd. I think it's actually pretty solid film. I thought it was going to be, Killer Nerd, wow, it's going to suck. A lot of the Troma covers, too, are kind of misleading. They're awful, awful cover artwork. And it's kind of, takes away from my initial desire to want to watch the movie. But I had heard enough good things about Killer Nerd to want to watch it. And I actually really enjoyed it. It was actually rather straightforward and, seriously, or what's the word? It was seriously played. It was not, Killer Nerd, of course, it's going to be funny and stereotypically nerdy in a lot of ways, but it was actually pretty straight played. Whoa, there's a cat. Oh my God. Hey, sorry about that, dudes. I saw this big old beast run across the window, and I thought for sure it was my cat getting in a fight. So, how to stop the video? You know, first and foremost, got to take care of my feline, the love of my life, Pipsina. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, back. My apologies. So, where were we? I was ranting about something. Whoa, and I don't even know where I put the movie. Oh, okay, cool, got it. So, Killer Nerd and Bride of Killer Nerd. Like I said, I enjoyed the film. I haven't seen Bride of Killer Nerd, honestly. I should have watched it because right after I watched the Killer Nerd, I was like, oh, that was good. Let's check out Bride, and I never got a chance to watch it. But that's another movie that is not directed by, or it's distributed by Troma. So, yeah, it doesn't... And that doesn't necessarily mean whether or not a film is directed or distributed by Troma, that it's a bad thing in either case. I mean, both... Lloyd Kaufman's made some amazing movies, and then a lot of the movies they distribute have been pretty good too. So, next up we have Astron 6, which is a really awesome company. Of course, we've all come to love Astron. They're kind of, well, and also the thing about Troma is they're known for bringing up a lot of filmmakers. Astron 6 being one of the more recent successes from their inception, working with Troma, being distributed by Troma. We had The Editor, and then there was the one that just came out that was really successful, and now I'm drawing a blank on what it was, but it was Astron 6, right? I think they were involved in it. I can't remember what film it was. Drop it in the comment section if you can remember. But this is fun. I think this is the first Astron 6 release ever. It's just a compilation of a bunch of shorts. Sort of like an anthology, but just a bunch of short films. There's one involving a zombie on here that I really, really like. And is it Inferno of the Dead? No. A lot of them have, I can't remember now the name of it. Cool Guys I remember being pretty good. But, yeah, it's fun. I mean, these guys are really talented, so be on the lookout. Continue to be on the lookout for Astron 6. This one I actually just heard the Horror Man talk about, Dead Dudes in the House. Yes, very, very good film. And do not be misguided by this cover. Again, these guys are not in the movie, as he mentioned. But, you know, this is actually a pretty fun film. It's from 1991. And yeah, it's basically just about, it says, mixes the suspense and shock of Hitchcock's Psycho with the madness and mayhem of Kubrick's The Shining. It's filmed in New Jersey, on location. A lot of these films are shot on location in, you know, local areas. Trendy contemporary treatment of a classic movie thriller theme. Dead Dudes in the House delivers frightening fun for these heartthrobs and their groupie friends when they learn that the house has been repossessed. But it is not the bank that is foreclosing. It is the garish ghosts of the murdering maniacal matriarch and her sultry daughter. So yeah, it's a good one. Combining all kinds of slasher, haunted, ghost themes. This one, I tried to get into. Moods had recommended this. Decapitated. It was just too bad. Too schlocky and low budget for my liking, but if you guys like slasher movies that are just really, really bad, in my opinion, really, really cheesy and cheap feeling, you might like Decapitated. I mean, it is what it is. The title says it all. This one was a really pleasant surprise. I'm probably going to be mentioning Moods a lot in this video, just because a lot of these films I had initially heard from him. I have to give him credit for that. So, there's nothing out there. This movie is really good. I highly recommend you guys check it out. If you're looking for Troma movies that you may not have seen before, this one, a lot of these films are out of print, unfortunately. So if we don't get a Blu-ray soon, you're going to be spending more, and who knows. But this is a 2-disc 20th anniversary edition. It's just a lot of fun. And it's actually, this film is really unique in that or a pioneer in that it's a very self-aware horror film. One of the dudes in the film is constantly referencing like decisions that people have made, like the right decision to be made. Very much like Scream, like the character of, I forget the dude in Scream who's always like, no, you shouldn't do that, that sort of thing. Horror movies. This was way before its time. It's directed by Ralph Kinski. Of course, it's distributed by Troma. And it's basically just about a group of kids that go to an isolated country house, and there is some sort of monstrous being out there. Just wreaks havoc on them, and it's fun. I liked it a lot. Highly recommend this one. Kind of like a creature feature, but you've got your classic setting in the isolated, you know, countryside farmhouse type deal. Group of kids getting killed off one by one, that sort of thing. But all the tropes are, it's a very self-aware film, like I said, so the tropes are there. And yeah, this one was from what year? I'm trying to find it. Most of the time they have the years laid out nice. 1990. Okay, so yeah. Way before its time. Then we have the anthology film Chillers. Sorry, it's not bad. Distributed by Troma again. I really don't remember much about this film except for the first episode that takes place in a pool. And it's something about like a repeat. This guy just keeps dying in this woman's dream or something like that. It's weird. But I remember enjoying it for what it was. It's definitely just a compilation of short films and anthology film. And yeah, I can't really go into details on this one because it's been a while. But a lot of these, again, it's been a long time. Another one, another short story type film, Where Evil Lives. This one's enjoyable as well. Again, just a bunch of short stories. These two Troma anthologies in particular are pretty decent, though. So, we got Chillers and Where Evil Lives. This one was from 1989, I'm sorry. And then again, it's distributed by Troma, not directed by. And then we have the controversial... there's no nudity on this. Yes, there is. I have actually the Vivid cover featured, but we have Necronos, Tower of Doom. This is a German splatter film. I think the director of this movie did Dr. Wolfenstein. I think that just came out. I may not be right on that, but yeah, I mean, it's just basically it's a German splatter film. So if you like your German splatters, check it out. This next one's one of my favorites. I've actually known about this film for a long time. One of my buddies in college turned me on to this back in like 2005. Redneck Zombies, one of my favorite shot on video films ever made. It is basically about these redneck hillbillies that concoct this alcohol, and when the townsfolk drink it, they turn into rampaging zombies. And most of you guys probably know about this film. It's a more popular Troma effort for sure. Again, it's distributed by Troma, not directed by. But it is one of my favorites. It's a backwoods bloodbath that'll tickle your funny bone, then rip it out. It's one of those rare films that combines horror and comedy successfully, in my opinion. But you have to, you have to take it for what it is. You have to be aware that it's a schlocky, low-budget, shot-on-video film. That being said, it's enjoyable, and the humor definitely works for me. It's directed by, what was the guy's name now? Hercules Lunis, and there's a funny little short in the special features section where Lloyd Kaufman is he's just fucking with the director completely. I mean, Lloyd is a goof, obviously, we all know that. But this one is he's calling him like Pericles Lunis or something like that, something stupid. But it's a film from, what is it, there's no year on here, fuck. Definitely the 80s, I think. I think it's like a 1986 shot on video film, but it's really good. Highly recommend it. One of the best Troma releases. Probably one of my all-time favorites as well. We have Cannibal the Musical. You can't go wrong with this movie. To this day, when I say I hope you guys are having a spadoinkle day, in my videos, I'm referencing this film right here, and I fucking love it. It's hilarious. This is if you guys don't know about this film, this is the movie that Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park, actually filmed and created for a school project. And you could tell those guys were fucking going, in my opinion, they were going places from this movie right here. It's a play on Alfred Packard, the cannibal story of Colorado or wherever it takes place. And it's just a really, really, really funny movie. I highly recommend you guys check it out. It's a musical, obviously, and it's got all sorts of references to all sorts of different horror movies and whatnot, and it's just really good. The special effects, what Trey Parker and Matt Stone had to work with in creating this, basically like a school film project, it's amazing, and it's fucking hilarious. It's got me in stitches all the time, laughing hysterically. I love this movie so much, Cannibal the Musical. The film's based on the legend of Colorado cannibal Alfred Packer. Cannibal the Musical tells Packer's version of what really happened when he had a group of gold diggers embarked on their fateful trip into the Rocky Mountains. Gruesomely gory, savagely satirical, and painfully funny, Cannibal the Musical stands as a predecessor to what would come next for Parker and Matt Stone, and features several trailblazing jokes that would become part of South Park legacy. It's great. Everybody knows about that movie, I would assume, by now. This movie is amazing. Well, okay, so this is Blood, Boobs, and Beast, and what this is it's a documentary / movie by director. It's all about the director. What's his name now? Don Dohler, who's done some amazing creature features, in my opinion. And I'm a really, really big fan of Night Beast. Night Beast is actually included on this as well. So this film is a documentary, basically a biography about the director Don Dohler, what he did, his contribution to horror and the genre. And then it also includes the film Night Beast, which is, I think, entirely out of print now. This release is out of print, and so is the Night Beast DVD that Troma put out individually. I highly recommend this release if you can get your hands on it, or Night Beast. They're both. I mean, you can't go wrong with this because it includes both, so it's essentially just a bunch of extra stuff if you want to learn more about Don Dohler and his legacy, if you want to call it that. I would. But it also includes the great Night Beast, which is actually my favorite Don Dohler film by far. Sci-fi horror flick. You can see the creature there. Just really, really awesome. He really reminds me of another creature from another movie. See if you guys can, in the comments, let me know because I'm drawing a blank on what it is. But hopefully they'll put that one out on Blu-ray because it's a great film. Night Beast rocks. Terror Firmer, another classic Troma film. I got this from Jeremy, 22 Shots of Horror, in a trade a while back. This is probably one of the most well-known Troma flicks out there. So Ron Jeremy's in it. It's chock full of features. Inspired by Lloyd Kaufman's book, All I Need to Know About Filmmaking, blah, blah, blah. Kaufman directs a talented cast of young and brilliant stars, including Trent Haga, who went on to direct, what was it? It came out very recently. He was Killjoy, and then he also directed a movie that Scream Factory released recently that was pretty darn good, and I'm drawing a blank on the name of it. But again, it stars Queen... Oh, of course, Debbie Rochon. There's so much to say about Troma because they've influenced the genre in so many ways by finding, so many people, and also just in so many ways. Debbie Rochon, her earliest work was done, and for most of her career she worked with Troma, and she's definitely regarded as a huge scream queen. Most of you guys probably know about this, but there's going to be a percentage of people out there who don't, so this is for you guys if you're curious at all on learning more about Troma. Anyway, this movie is the critically acclaimed story of a low-budget film crew and their attempts to make some art. The crew finds themselves set upon by a sexually conflicted bomb-bearing serial killer. In the tradition of the Toxic Avenger and Romeo of Juliet, Terror Firmer is guaranteed to have you leaping from your seat. Movies like Kill Bill and Ben-Hur clearly owe great debt to Terror Firmer. I'm not so sure about that. But it is influential in its own right, and it's a good film. Definitely one of... And this is actually directed by Lloyd Kaufman, I believe. Now I'm probably going to be wrong. And also, Lemmy from Motorhead. Okay, so those of you who like metal, Lemmy was really tight with Troma and Lloyd Kaufman, so his music is featured in this film and in many of Troma's films. I think this is directed by Lloyd Kaufman. It's definitely produced by them, but it's directed by Lloyd himself. And another hidden gem, in my opinion, Frostbiter. This is an amazing film, amazing atmosphere, cold setting. Frostbiter, baby. What to say about this one? Basically like a creature feature set in the cold north. It plays on that, the Wendigo.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the Wendigo story, so it's really awesome. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember really, really enjoying this one. Again, Mood616 recommended this one to me. And I'll read you guys the synopsis so you can get a legitimate idea of what the film's about. It says, Frostbiter is a chilling testament to the evil of a deadly creature of the North. According to Native American lore, it will rise to strike terror into the hearts of those who desecrate its resting place. When a group of hunters with lust for blood disrupt the peace on a remote island, they awaken the invincible wrath of the Wendigo, the demon Frostbiter. The evil creature takes on many forms, appearing when you most fear it and when you least expect it. When you hear when the Frostbiter appears, hell has frozen over. So, awesome movie. One of my favorite Troma releases. And then we have Coons. Killer raccoons, man. Enough said on that one. It's very cheesy, but it's enjoyable. Definitely. I like that cover artwork, too. I dig it. This one is not directed by, it's distributed by Troma. Directed by Travis Irvin, right there on the cover. And another awesome Troma movie, again, produced and or maybe distributed by, not sure if it was produced, distributed by Troma, Blood Junkie. Really, really awesome slasher movie. about a couple people that are just kind of like panning this rural area, going camping, whatever, a date trip, and then they stumble across this abandoned, like, it's almost like an abandoned industrial warehouse area, or like it's almost like an abandoned medical facility, but I think it's more of just like an industrial space. It reminds me of Plattsburgh, New York. If you guys have ever been there, the footage in this movie really reminds me of like the abandoned airstrip there. But anyways, yeah, and there's this fucking ruthless killer that wears like a My Bloody Valentine type ventilator mask, and he actually literally is a blood junkie, so he like siphons the blood out of you when he kills you, and it's badass. It's a really fun slasher. Highly recommend it. Can you guys feel my excitement on that one? It's a good one. And then we have, of course, the classic and more modern Return to Nukem High. Big fan of this series. Do I have this on DVD? I might have upgraded. My apologies if I show it to you guys in my Blu-rays. But anyway, recommend the whole Nukem High trilogy if you like. Cheeseball Troma. Directed by Lloyd Kaufman. Again, classic Nukem High. You can read into that title. This one I never saw. Open 24/7. Moods recommended it. I picked it up, but I never actually watched it. So it says, late at night in a remote backyard restaurant, the customers are trying to stay awake. To keep boredom at bay, there's nothing better than horror, cannibalism, sex, and violence. Not much of a synopsis, but this movie is pretty good. Screenplay, it's black and white, but it's modern. It's about a writer, the story of aspiring screenwriter Edgar Allan, as he arrives in Hollywood carrying his most valuable possessions, a battered suitcase and a typewriter. Edgar Allan's best attribute is his wild imagination. He imagines scenes so vividly for the murder mystery he is writing that they seem to come to life. And they do. As mysterious, gruesome murders pile up, Edgar Allan must confront aging actresses, rock stars, and the state police in a bleak setting of broken dreams and hideously broken bodies in Hollywood. Again, it's rather played straightforward, and it's fun. Writing a killer script can be grisly murder. I like that tagline. And it's shot in black and white. This next one I got at FYE for like $2. These movies are apparently probably some of the worst movies that Troma's ever put out. Flesh Eaters from Outer Space and Invasion for Flesh and Blood. A lot of the compilations that they put out had horrible films in them as well, like Curse of the Cannibal Confederates. That's like supposedly one of the worst Troma flicks ever. Lloyd Kaufman, I think, was quoted as saying that himself. But yeah, I don't really have any interest in watching these movies anytime soon because they're deemed so fucking horrible, but we'll see. Another one I haven't actually seen, Doomsday County. I think Moods recommended this one as well. The locals call it Doomsday County, a town overrun with zombies, vampires, and a melting mad scientist with plans for impeding alien invasion. In this homage to Grindhouse Cinema, who will step up and maintain order in this crazy town. I gotta check this one out. This one, again, is distributed by Troma, directed by somebody I don't know, Stephen Shea, I believe, and then it's from 2012, so it's a more modern Troma effort. The classic Monster in My Closet, I have a lot of the classics, so yeah, Monster in My Closet. This is a fun one, especially if you're a kid. Growing up and watching this, it kind of plays on all of the fantasies that little kids have about monsters in their closet type deal. But I enjoy it for what it is. And it is from 1998. Directed by Bob Dolan, distributed by Troma. I guess I could stop saying distributed by Troma. Clearly, these are all fucking Tromas, so I'll drop that. This movie, Romeo and Juliet, not going to go into it in big detail, but of course, this is the movie that put Guardians of the Galaxy director, Slither director, why am I forgetting his name, James Gunn, on the map. He actually wrote this film for Troma. I'm pretty sure it was directed by Lloyd. But, yeah, so another example of Troma discovering some serious talent. And what went on to become James Gunn, the man James Gunn that we all know. But this movie's okay. To me, it's not one of my personal favorites, but it's an adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, obviously, Tromeo and Juliet. I don't know. For some reason, I could never really sink my teeth into the hype of this film. I just never really... It's good, I mean, but I don't know. I guess it's just not really my style, but for what it is, it's creative. I'll give it that. Alright guys, so that's it for my Troma DVDs. let's get into the Troma Blu-rays. I only have like 12 or so, so let me just grab a swig of this coffee. And we'll get into the Blu-rays. Forgot I had a coffee. Gotta drink it. It's getting cold. All right. So first up, I'm just going to show you all 4 of these at once. I have Toxic Avenger, which is actually, I think, a pretty excellent transfer. I'm not going to lie. I like this transfer. Toxic Avenger Part 2. Toxic Avenger Part 3. And Citizen Toxie, the Toxic Avenger Part 4. These movies, if you guys are going to know about Troma and its existence, you're going to know about the Toxic Avenger. It's probably what put Troma and Lloyd Kaufman on the map. It's a lot of fun. Those of you, the small percentage of people who might not know about what it is, it's about Toxie, who was a nerd janitor, and he was picked on, and he was basically just like harassed by these assholes, probably the biggest asshole teens ever, or I don't know what they are. I think they're supposed to be teens ever portrayed on film. Like, we're talking serious bullies. Anyway, he gets chased into this barrel of fucking, I don't know what it is. It's ooze, and it basically just mutates him into this Toxic Avenger. And then he basically is a mutant hero that saves the day. And he also, at the same time, macks on the ladies and seeks vengeance on all those who fucked with him. And it's a fun series. I actually really enjoy it. The first film is by far my favorite, and it's actually a really fucked up movie. There's a scene, so many of you guys know, obviously, that have seen this movie, that involves the kids, the bullies, driving down the road, sipping vodka, knocking pedestrians. They basically play a point game where if they hit and kill a person on a bike, you get 3 points. If you hit and kill a pedestrian, you get 1, that sort of thing. And there's one scene where they proceed to just mutilate this one boy on a bike, and they just drive over his body back and forth and squish his head, and you see the head just like explode. It's just like fucking, like, when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit, man, this is like not, I felt like uncomfortable. I felt like wrong watching that scene, but I've grown to love it. I mean, it's fucking awesome. It's Troma at heart. The Toxic Avenger is Troma. So anyway, I grabbed those 4 movies. I made sure I had to get them on Blu-ray for sure. And then we have the classic Blood-Sucking Freaks, I guess, classic to some, hideous and appalling to others. This movie is fucking weird, man. It's basically just about this sadistic dude that throws darts at women's assholes and basically just, like, I don't know. It's very, what's the word? Basically like a feminist's nightmare, I would say. For lack of a better description. It's pretty un-PC, to say the least. But anyway, it's bizarre. I haven't seen it in a while. Probably won't watch it again, honestly. It's not one of my favorites, but I guess I could appreciate it for what it is. Sergeant Kabukian, NYPD, another one that I feel is kind of personally overrated. Not a huge fan of this film at all. Basically, they tried to create another superhero, hence the title Sergeant Kabuki Man, NYPD, and it's just kind of weird. This is a more modern double feature from Troma. We have Fear Town USA and The Slashing, and I think I really remember enjoying The Slashing. Not so much Fear Town USA, but yeah, this was pretty good. Definitely worth buying. The Slashing was, I think, a pretty straightforward slasher, and I enjoyed it. Double feature. Then we have the original Class of Nukem High on Blu-ray. I only have the first. I thought I might have had the second, but I guess I only have the first on Blu-ray. But this is the classic one. It's really, really fun film. I'll read you guys a synopsis. It's also directed by Lloyd Kaufman. Let's see. Class of Nukem High takes place in the radioactive halls of Tromaville High School, where the dangerous radiation leak turns great minds into great mutants. Expose yourself to outrageously awesome doses of science fiction, horror, action, and bizarre humor. This nuclear age movie has something for everyone and everything. Your entertainment level will shoot right off the meter. A lot of these Troma films are kind of hard to describe, so I feel like it's just easier for me to just read the synopsis in some cases, but it's a hoot. It's a fun Tromaville classic. And really disappointed in this release. I think a lot of us were fans of this film. Classic, great film. Rabid Grannies, one of my favorites. Rabid grannies, yes, it is exactly that. Basically, this witch comes to this manor and possesses these women on their birthday, or these old grannies on their birthday, and they become rabid, zombie-like demon. I was going to say demonistic. Demons, basically. Like zombie, rabid demons that just taunt this family and chase them throughout this mansion and kill them, and they all have brutal deaths, and it's just a lot of fun. I really enjoy this movie. It's kind of like not Night of the Demons, like Demons except rabid grannies, that sort of deal, I guess, and more low budget, but it's really enjoyable. This release, though, I have to be honest, it was not a very good transfer. It was definitely a bomb. That was the general consensus on that one. But still a great film, and it's worth grabbing because the DVD was like uber expensive and long out of print. So this is a newer one, BC Butcher, directed by Kansas Bowling probably. This was okay. I didn't mind it, especially considering the girl was 16 years old when she directed this. This one is produced, not directed by Lloyd Kaufman. I just said that. Directed by a 16-year-old, which is awesome. That's really, really props to her for, directing a feature film at that age. It's amazing. And all things considered, it was pretty good. Given the budget constraints and everything that she had to work with, it was good. This movie, classic, The Taint, highly recommend it. The Taint, I mean, come on. That's Troma again at a T, at its finest. Again, produced by Troma, directed by Drew Bolduc. The water is tainted. The taint poisons the minds of men. It turns them into raging misogynists, monsters who want nothing more than to kill women. When society is transformed into a land of sadistic violence and horrible brutality, it's up to Phil O'Ginny and his female friend, Missandra, nice, Missandra, to combat the horrible evil that is the taint. But it's great. Highly recommend that one, and I love this cover, too. This movie, I think, is long out of print now on Blu-ray, and it's going for a pretty penny. But, you know what I forgot to show you guys, and I have it right over there. I'll include it in my little bonus update, is Father's Day. I'll show you that, too. That's by Astron 6. Then we have two more here, guys. We have Troma's War. Classic Troma film. Again, very serious in tone. This one's directed by Lloyd as well, I believe. Yeah, it says Troma's War is Troma at its loudest, biggest, and most action-packed. In the grand tradition of Dirty Dozen, gloriously restored in explosive HD. Sorry, I'm just reading the back clearly. Before there was American Sniper and Lost, there was Troma's War. It's not a horror film. It's a war film. And it's a Troma effort. And it's really good. All things considered, I like this movie. It's good. Serious in tone. And next up, we have The Thingy, Confessions of a Teenage Placenta. I've actually never seen this movie. It says The Miracle of Life After Birth. It's a new one. But it's basically about a teenage placenta that is trying to avoid, I think, his mother's wishes of killing. I could be totally wrong there. In a twisted world, Marianne gives birth to a rather unusual child. While the child is born dead, life finds its way through the afterbirth. Marianne decides to raise her placenta as a normal human being. A young man named Luke. Behind his monstrous facade, there reveals a person of intelligence, faith, and sensitivity. Luke struggles for his place in the world of drunks, junkies, whores, and bodybuilders. An insane world that treats him as a freak. As this hostile society slowly pushes him towards the edge, Luke has to choose between holding on to his gentle ideals or becoming the merciless soldier his mother always wanted him to be. So I was right about that. All right, guys, so I'll be back in 2 seconds with the last of what I have from Troma. Okay, stay tuned. All right, dudes, I'm back. Sorry about that. I couldn't really find what I wanted to find. I know I have more Troma Blu-rays, but yeah, couldn't find them. But I was able to find these two 3-pack Troma movies that include 6 movies, 3 on each. Troma had put out a few of these triple featurettes, Toxie's Triple Terror box set things. Curse of the Cannibal Confederates, Demented Death Farm Massacre, and Deadly Daphne's Revenge. All 3 of these movies suck. I don't recommend any of them. And then this Toxie's triple feature actually includes Dead Dudes in the House, The Newly Deads, and Space Zombie Bingo. Dead Dudes in the House and the Newly Deads being okay films. Space Zombie Bingo kind of blows. But, yeah, I don't know. And then I grabbed Father's Day, which is a classic. It's the second entry, I think, from Astron 6. It's a fucked up film. I don't even really know how to describe it. It's craziness. But, yeah, if you guys want to know about it, there. You can read up on it right there. But it's, I love everything that Astron 6 has done, so And it's kind of like a progression. Their films just keep getting better and better and better. But anyway, guys, that's it. That's my Troma update. Hope you enjoyed. Any questions, as usual, down below. Catch y'all probably soon, within the next day or two, with another massive update. So, can't wait. Peace.